Hey, everybody. I hope you've had a great day. This is Kim Danke, the Shibboleth new member fast track instructor, and tonight is our simple food combining webinar. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to start to hear some foods that go in these different categories, because one of the most important things you can do in the beginning is know where your favorite foods land. What category do my foods go into, so that we can make those simple swaps that will allow you to eat in a way that controls insulin. So as you are hopping on here tonight, please let me know if you've had a perfect day. I want to know what kind of day you had today. Did anybody get started today? Or do I have some refreshing members? Let me know all those details, maybe even where you're from and how you heard about Shibboleth. I love to know those. If you're in the Zoom room, in your chat, please make it say everyone. Click where it says to, and then change it to everyone so that we can all see what you're typing. If you're on Facebook, please take a second to do a few hearts, a few likes. Let us know that you are here. I would love to know that you are here. What Shibboleth is, it's a weight loss and wellness management system. So first of all, we give you the education that we really always needed all along, but we never had. And as an adult, we do have to make those adult decisions to educate ourselves. And then we have to make the adult decision to do the things that it takes to get the results. So we're going to teach you that first. Tonight is part of that. And then we're going to, over the next few nights, we're going to teach you all the resources and tools that you can have at your disposal as well. And then you know what's even going to be better? We get to do all of this together, because if you're doing it all alone, it's just not nearly as fun. And this community that Travis and Sasha have created for Shibboleth is absolutely amazing. If you are not yet a Shibboleth member, please grab your membership. It is currently only $79 for a lifetime membership. That is not monthly. That is not annually. It's a one-time payment of $79. Okay. You can get that at shibbolethdeals.com. Shibboleth is spelled S-H-I-B-B-O-L-E-T-H, deals.com. If you heard about Shibboleth from a friend, a coworker, a family member, or an acquaintance, please put in their first and last name so that we can thank them. We don't have a marketing department, and so we like to thank our members with a little 5% towards the Shibby Shop if they told you about Shibboleth. Diane had a perfect day, but needs a refresher class. Glad you're here, Diane. Diane has had great success on Shibboleth and is still wanting a refresher. Why? Because we have had habits for however long we had those habits. And sometimes we need to be reminded of why we're doing what we're doing. And she says, Shibboleth rocks. Thank you, Diane. I'm glad you had a perfect day. Let's see who's over here in Zoom room with me. Hey, Dolores, it was her first day and it was a perfect day. Awesome. Hey, Lori, glad you're here. Glad you're here. That's awesome. And Sabrina, new, just getting started and watching videos today. Awesome. Awesome. Shannon, her first day. It was perfect. Fabulous. We got Joanna. And today was her first day. Definitely not perfect. I understand. Joanna, though, make sure that you still write down everything that you ate and you did, because that's going to make a difference when you look back at it. Okay, please look back at it. And Amanda is prepping for her start date. That's awesome. And Amy, day one, perfect day. Fabulous. Hey, Janet, perfect day. Glory to God. That's awesome, Janet. Good. And Patricia had a perfect day. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I am so glad that y'all are here with me. And tonight we are going to look at some simple food combining. And Jeannie, it was her first day and she had a perfect day. Hey, Zena, glad you're here. Hey, Marla, I listened to your last message. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your last Marco. So, and as you were saying bye, I was hitting the Zoom to go into here. Okay. So we're going to share the screen. And we're going to go to this link. I have this link. I'm going to show you a couple of things in addition to this link. Real quick, we're going to go to Fast Track. Because Fast Track is the curriculum that we have developed in order to teach you how to do that. Oh, awesome, Sabrina. I love Tabitha. Tabitha and I are in a battle buddy right now. Katie, hey, Katie. I mentioned to Stacy this morning on the Shibby show that I got to meet you this weekend. So that was awesome. And Tabitha is wonderful. We're doing a battle buddy this week. Tabitha and I are. We're both a little competitive, so it works out. Look, this is the curriculum that we've developed, and part of this is reading. You know, sometimes it's the information that we've just never gotten into our hands to be able to read and understand. And so this little first task here is simply registering for webinars. This is watching the 14 little fast track videos that'll take you less than 1 hour, not 14 hours. It'll take you less than 1 hour. Then this right here is your welcome packet and guidelines all the way down to here. That's our printables and things you need to read. And read for understanding. Don't skim. We said skimmers don't become slimmers. Why? Because they don't fully understand. So read for understanding. If you're a Facebook user, then these is the groups that you join. In lap 2, it's all about getting your account set up in a way that it will crunch the numbers and create all the graphs and do all the super fun things for you. But if you don't give it all the details, then you will not have it set up in the right way. Awesome. Marla, I just saw you had a perfect day. That's awesome. And then right here, see this one right here, watch the daily fast track webinars. If you missed last night, it's housed right here. So you really won't mark this one off until the end of the week, and you'll just mark this off. But I have it just housed right there for the week. And the website that I'm using tonight is housed right here. This is the link for it. And then if you did not take the test, the quiz, at the end of the little 14 videos yesterday, if you didn't take that, I mean, on lap 1, if you didn't take that, then here's another chance for you to take it. The reason you want to take it before tomorrow night is because tomorrow night we're going to start going over the food library. And then in the rest of the week, we're going to look at the recipe library and the restaurant guide. And if you haven't at least earned this badge yet, then you won't have the full food library, the full recipe library, and the full restaurant guide open to you. Okay. And this technically says fast track complete. Excuse me, I should say this. This says fast track complete, but technically it's not. Okay, until you finish all the laps. That just is the badge that'll open up your libraries. Okay, and so I just have that right there just in case. But if you've already passed it, you just check the box. Okay, do you see how there's a black box popping up every time I hover my mouse over it? Then you read that black box, because that's different for every task, and it's specifically explaining why are you doing this task, and is there anything special you need to know about completing it. And once you've clicked here, done it, then you come back and check the box. It's just an organized way to know where you are in the process. Okay, all right, so I just wanted to show all of that. And then we're going to use this website. Now, as a little tip, you can actually print this list if you want to and use it in the future, or you could just use it, pull it up on your computer, and create meals that you like from it. So the way that I'm going to do this tonight is we're going to recap the oils and healthy fats. We went over that last night, but I'm going to recap it tonight. And then I'm going to go over condiments. We didn't even have time to do condiments last night, but I'm going to do condiments today. And then I'm going to read the list. Why do I spend time reading this list to you? Because when you're reading it, you're hearing me say it, and hopefully you're also writing down your favorites in some categories. Hopefully you've got 1 through 7 written at the top of a page somewhere, and you start making out your lists. Even if you went ahead and went to lap 3, there's an organized worksheet in there for you for that. But just start making your list. If you are writing something, you're hearing me read it to you, and you're looking at it, you're going to start to really understand what types of foods go into these categories. How does a food make its way into a certain category? Well, it's depending on its nutritional profile and how it responds in your body, and it goes into the right category for that. Okay, so cooking fats and oils. So really what Shibboleth is simple swaps. simple swaps. You're simply going to swap some different products that you're buying at the store. You're simply going to swap some of the foods you're eating together on the same plate at the same time. And you're going to swap your oil. All right. So our number one recommended is 100% MCT oil. MCT oil stands for medium chain triglycerides. It is a short fat lipid and it burns like that. It burns fast. Okay. Now, what were you having before Shibboleth? Canola oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, and other oils. Those are long chain triglycerides. They're longer. They take longer to burn and they're more dense. So if we're looking at two different oils, MCT, it has almost no propensity to be stored on your body as fat. Amen. Long chain triglycerides, LCTs, they have a great propensity to be stored on your body as fat. I've not bought any of that since April 10th of 2019. Hadn't happened. I just buy MCT oil and my 0-calorie cooking spray, and I've got some ghee butter at home, and that's what I use. We do sell a brand called Zero Drag. If you want to get the Zero Drag brand, you can. The second most recommended is the Now brand. That's the one that Travis says. So the Zero Drag comes from our little store. Then you can use coconut oil. Coconut oil is 66% MCTs, but it's not 100% MCTs. Could also use ghee butter, Ghee butter. Ghee butter is butter. It's just been clarified, meaning all of the milk solids have been pulled out of it, and you're just left with the fat. And it's about 25% MCTs. But where I say you use ghee butter is when you need that butter flavor. If you're making shrimp scampi, you're going to use some ghee butter. If you are dipping crab legs in some butter, you're going to use ghee butter. Lobster tail, you're going to use ghee butter. And then in recipes, so this is when I use ghee butter. I typically use it in a recipe or for like a dipping oil, but I don't just spread it on my toast. I would use Brummel and Brown yogurt butter for that. Or I can't believe it's not butter spray is what I use for that. Then you can also use 0-calorie cooking spray. Here's how I determine which one I'm going to use. If I am cooking a lean protein, either from category 1 or category 7, I use 100% MCT oil. Ghee butter, I just use if I'm making a recipe or something like that. And then when I'm cooking a protein plus fat, it's already got fats in it. I don't need additional fats to add to it. That's when I use my 0-calorie cooking spray. So on the MCT oil and other oils, 1 tablespoon is your amount. You wouldn't want to go over 1 tablespoon, but if you're cooking 1 piece of chicken for you, then you could use 1 tablespoon. But if you're cooking 4 pieces of chicken in the pan for the family, then you could use 4 tablespoons. Okay. It just kind of depends on that, but you wouldn't obviously take extra and put it on your plate. Now when I cook it for myself, whatever is left in the pan, I will take my rubber spatula and I will scoot it out of my pan and put it in a little ramekin. And when I'm cutting up my chicken, I'll dip it in there because I have seasonings in there too, Nature's Own seasoning or whatever I've decided to use. And I dip it in there like a little au jus sauce. You can do that. Some of that's already burned up in the cooking process, and MCT oil is good. But I wouldn't, there's 3 reasons we use MCT oil. Cooking in a pot, a pan, grill, whatever you do, recipes, and making approved salad dressings. But what you don't need to do is you do not need to take it as a supplement. You don't need to put it in your coffee. You don't need to add it to shakes. We do not just randomly add it to things. And there's a lot of noise out there about how you should use MCT oil. The people trying to sell you that MCT oil may not be in the same nutritional situation that you're in. They may not have the same goals and needs that you have. So you don't listen to them. You do the 3 ways only: cooking in recipes, making approved salad dressings. No other random ways. Okay. It still has calories in it. Hey, Angelia, glad you're here. Now, condiments. Condiments are great because condiments are what makes your food taste so good a lot of times. So let's take a piece of chicken breast. You can have Italian chicken. You can have Mexican chicken, you can have barbecue chicken, and you just changed your condiments. Chicken is still the base, but you changed your condiments. So it's kind of important to know how to use condiments. So condiments, there are so many things that can be used as condiments, and not every single one of them is going to make its way into the food library, okay? So we have a general rule about condiments. We call it the 5, 2, and few. This is a sprinkling. 5, wait, which number's 5? 5, 2, and few. So when you're looking at to use a condiment or use an item for a condiment, let's say that you're walking through the aisle of the grocery store and you want to pick up some barbecue sauce and you go, ooh, I don't know if it's approved. Rather than stand there and type in the name of the item in the food library on your phone, just flip the item over and look at the nutrition label. If it has 5 grams of sugar or less, and it has 2 grams of fat per serving or less, then you're good to go. So 5 grams of sugar or less per serving and 2 grams of fat or less per serving. How are you going to remember which one is which? The word sugar has 5 letters. So remember, you're looking for 5 or less in sugars and 2 or less in fat. And if it meets those 2 rules, you can buy it. Now, you don't want to use more than 50 calories worth of condiments on a meal. So let's say that you are making a 96% lean ground hamburger patty and you want to use a piece of cheese. Okay, well, if you buy the Borden fat-free singles, it's 30 calories. So you've used up 30 of your 50, but you still have 20 calories left. Let's say that you use mustard. Most mustard is 0 calorie. I've seen a few that are 5, but most are 0. You can add that. That's not taking up any of your calories. And then you could maybe use 20 calories of ketchup if you wanted to, okay? And that would get up to your, of approved ketchup. And that would get you up to your 50 calories. So you can have multiple condiments on a meal. You just don't want to go more than 50 on a meal. Technically, you can have 50 calories worth of condiments at each meal, but keep in mind that if we did the math on that, that's about 1,050 calories over a week's time, and we are trying to get into a calorie deficit. So I kind of just am choosy with my condiments, and I don't feel like I need to use them at every single meal, and I try to use 0 calorie condiments when possible. So let me let the dog out. Sorry about that. Any 0 calorie condiment will work fine. 15 calorie or less spices and seasonings will work as well. Often it's that little packet like Mexican or McCormick's Thick and Zesty Italian to make Italian spaghetti. So all those work. Salt and pepper works. Salsa. Now I would still check out the salsa and make sure it's approved because some of it could have too much sugar in it. Reduced sugar ketchup, mustard, hot sauce, Kraft fat-free mayo. This is a minuscule list. But see, in the beginning, you don't need huge lists. You just need what you like to eat to get you some results that are simple meals to get started. You can continue to branch out because you've got the rest of your life to do this, okay? You can continue to branch out as you see meals in the Facebook groups and as you check out the Travis's Fast Start meal ideas in the lap 1 and all the things we're going to go over this week. You're going to learn a lot of new things. I like to call this a nutritional adventure because you are going to try new things that you haven't tried before. And if you're a picky eater, I'm a picky eater, okay? And I've lost 50 pounds. So we can figure out how to do this for any type of eater, even if you consider yourself a picky eater. Now, I'm going to give you the practical application of choosing a condiment. Normally, when I buy pizza sauce, I just buy the Classico traditional pizza sauce. I normally buy that at Kroger. Well, see, Kroger doesn't sell the cheese that I want, so I had gone to Publix to pick up some cheese that I want, and I knew that I needed some pizza sauce, so I went back to the pizza sauce area, and I was just going to buy the Classico traditional pizza sauce. Lo and behold, they didn't have it. They had 6 other types, but not that one. Well, you know how long it would have taken me to stand there? Hey, Evelyn, glad you're here. You know how long that would have taken me to have my phone and to like type in the name of every single one to see if it was approved? That's just a slow process if you're looking at a whole bunch of things, okay? But what I did was I turned all 6 jars around on the shelf, and then I started scanning the sugar content. If it had more than 5 grams of sugar, I turned that one around. It's out of the running. And then the ones that were left, I scanned the fat content. If it had more than 2 grams of fat, it's out of the running. I turned it around. I was left with 2. I picked one and bought it. So that is how you practically apply the condiment rule when you're out and about and you're trying to see if something will work. Okay, so we're going to go, now we're going to look at category 1, lean protein. Now remember, last night I told y'all that there's 7 categories of food and 5 of them you can eat alone. They don't even have to be combined. And category 1 was one of them. So if you didn't hear this last night, I'll go over it quickly. Number 1, category 1 and 2, category 4, category 6, and category 7 do not even have to be combined. Okay, so I skipped number 3 and number 5 because they must be combined properly. And we'll talk more about that as the webinar goes on. But category 1, lean protein. You need to know which lean proteins you like. If you are vegan or vegetarian in the food library, you will go click on the lean proteins and then you're going to click the filter for vegetarian or click the filter for vegan, and then it will list out all the things that are lean proteins that are vegan or vegetarian. All right, you can have 2 to 8 ounces, egg whites, fish, all fish is here, chicken breast, turkey breast. And if I'm saying some things that you like, write them down in the categories, okay? Because you can start using these. Pork tenderloin, boar's head turkey, boar's head chicken breast, boar's head London broil, low-fat cottage cheese, fat-free cottage cheese, Greek plain yogurt, Hebrew National 97% lean beef frank, one of them, and 96% lean ground meat. So let me talk about a few of these things. 96% lean ground meat. That's red meat, you know, it's beef, chicken, turkey, but it's that processed ground meat. If it's 96% lean or greater, then it's a lean protein. Then we've got low fat and fat-free cottage cheese here. We actually have full fat cottage cheese on the lifestyle. It's just a protein plus fat, so it's in a different category. And the reason that boar's head is listed here is because we know it's a very lean meat, but there are many other deli meats approved. And if you see some visible fat on pork tenderloin, you know, chicken breast, if you see some visible fat there, trim it off, because we are using these category 1 lean proteins to keep us safe when we eat energy, carbs, and fruit. And I would just trim off any extra fat. Okay, so this row that we've kind of gone over right now, this is just simply saying that you can eat lean protein by itself. You can cook it up in the right oil and doctor it up in the right condiments. Patricia, boar's head is usually found at, I've always seen it at all the grocery stores. I've never been to a grocery store that didn't carry it. Boar's head is typically over in the deli department. They kind of cut it for you. But they all pretty much carry boar's head. I don't know what area you're from, but I've seen it at Publix, Ingles, Kroger, everywhere. So you can eat this alone. Now, if you're just doing just like one chicken breast, you're not going to put it under 2 hands. Chicken breast would just be under this. Most of the time, this is not going to be the situation because most of the time people like more food on their plate. But the reason that we let you know this is because not every single meal you're going to eat is going to be some glorious foodie chef created meal. Sometimes you just need, okay, Angelia says that Walmart doesn't carry boar's head. Okay, I hadn't been to Walmart in ages, so I didn't know. Actually, I have been to Walmart. I just haven't been to the grocery store in Walmart. So you can cook this up. So let's just say that one night you get home and you're like, dang, I don't have anything here except for chicken breast. That's okay. Just cook it up and eat it. It'll be fine. Then you go to the grocery store. But the next day you're probably like, I don't want to do just chicken breast again. Let me eat it with a fibrous carb. And you can go to the grocery store and get that. But you got to know how to make good decisions in those moments where things aren't just perfect. So category 1 and a category 2. We have a new category right here. Category 2, fibrous carbs. Half a cup up to a cup. When you are in weight loss mode, half a cup is really best. Okay. But there's your fibrous carb hand. This would be your lean protein hand. This would be your fibrous carb hand. You put your two hands together. You lower your hands down over your food and you look. And you do not want to see food sticking out around your hands. You'd be good to go. The reason it says up to a cup is, once you get to maintenance, if you want to try doing a cup, you can. But really half a cup is best in weight loss. But honestly, even in maintenance, if it doesn't fit underneath your hand, you don't need to go up to a cup. But broccoli, asparagus, squash, okra, green leafy vegetables, spinach, cabbage, cucumbers, bell peppers, hot peppers, cauliflower, kraut, dill pickles, green beans. Okay, so this is just a nice little list, but there's many, 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 many more. And we have over 60 approved bread or bread type items in this category. This is a hallelujah moment for most people, okay, that we've got bread, like loaf bread and tortillas and lavash bread and pita bread. We get all kinds of stuff that are right here in this category too. So what this row is saying to you, this is combining. You're going to put something from the lean protein category with something in the category, fibrous carb category, cook it up in the right oil, doctor it up with the right condiments, and you'll have an excellent fat burning meal. And see how you got a flame right here? It's because this is really good for fat burning. All right, now we come down here to shellfish. Now, category 1, lean protein, includes all fish. But category 7 is also a lean protein. This is just all the other critters that live in water. Whether or not they have a shell goes right here. You're welcome, Beth. Thank you for just making me smile right in the middle of this video. Thank you. So all of your foods that are not fish, but they're all the other animals that live in water, whether or not they have a shell, come right here. So you've got category 7 shellfish, 2 to 8 ounces, crab, lobster, shrimp, scallops, oysters, mussels, clams, those type of things. But the reason I mentioned, even if it doesn't have a shell, octopus, if you wanted to eat that, doesn't have a shell, but this is where it would go. You can eat that by itself. You can cook it up in the right oil too. And you can doctor it up with the right condiments and have an excellent fat burning meal. Now, again, that would be your protein source and it would just go under this one hand, not both. All right. Now, what this next row is showing you, you can pick something from category 7. You can eat it with something from category 2. Cook it up in the right oil, doctor it up with the right condiments, and you would have an excellent fat burning meal. So now we're going to come down here. And look at this. I want to see something. Look, we got a plus sign and a flame right here. Come down here. We got a plus sign. Now, this is because this is great for fat burning, but these are just a little bit more excellent for fat burning. They're all good. They're all good. But I just like to show you little nuances along the way. Okay. So category 4, protein plus fat. First of all, fat is not a bad word. Our body actually uses fats for certain functions. And when you eat an approved protein plus fat in a portion controlled way, that will actually, it will get used up as energy and dissipate as heat. But if you eat it inappropriately, meaning overeating it, then, it'll get stored. Okay. But protein plus fat, 2 to 6 ounces. You'll notice the ounces went down just a little bit. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret. I've never measured any of this. I just put it underneath my hand, and if it fits, I eat it. So I've not actually done any measuring like that. But I do want you to know why there's a few less ounces there. In 1 gram of carbs, there's 4 calories. In 1 gram of fat, there's 9 calories. So there's just a few more calories here. So if you back off on the ounces just a little bit, you're not overdoing it in your calories. Okay, so this is where your whole eggs are. All cuts of steak are here. Most pork products are here. That pork tenderloin is in a category 1, and there are some category 1 Canadian bacons as well, but most of your pork products are going to be here. Pork ribs, pulled pork, beef brisket, 93% lean up to 95.9% lean ground meat, and turkey kielbasa, as long as no more than 50% of the calories are coming from fat. So just remember, you can eat a category 4 by itself. Now, we don't have that pictured here on this site, but you can eat it by itself. I mentioned it last night. If you wake up one morning and all you've got is some eggs in the refrigerator, just make yourself some scrambled eggs and there you go. And then get on to the grocery store that day. But you can still at least have a perfect meal because it doesn't necessarily have to be combined. Now, most of the time, though, people are going to combine it with a category 2, fibrous carb. And we went over those a minute ago. So this is pick something from this category and something from this category. And what is it that's missing right here? What column is missing? It was right before the condiments on all the other combinations. Something missing. What's missing? Who can tell me? Yes, Patricia. Awesome. The oils. The oils are missing because look, FAT. Those are some fats. Oils are fats. You don't really need to add additional oils or use additional oils to cook this up. This is when I would use my 0-calorie cooking spray, water, something else. But I wouldn't add oils to that. So that's why there's none there in this little line across here. Before we leave the protein plus fat, I want to talk about this. So the turkey kielbasa, you just want to make sure that no more than 50% of the calories are coming from fat if you want to eat that. This is that lean ground meat. 93% lean up to 95.9% lean is considered a protein plus fat. As soon as we hit that 96, it's a lean protein, but this one would be 93 to 95. If you see, oh, why can't I eat 90%? Why can't I eat 85%? That's because this is processed meat. It's not like a piece of steak. And what they've done is they have taken a whole bunch of fat and added a little bit of meat to it. And then marketing wise, they say, oh, it's this much lean. It's really just a whole bunch of fat with a little bit of meat added to it. This is why we have these percentages on here, because they'll help you keep you safe when we combine foods. All right, we've come to a new category, category 6 superfood. And last night I mentioned that in order for a food to qualify as a superfood, it has all 4 macronutrients in there. We consider water a macronutrient on Planet Shibboleth, so that's where I'm getting the 4. So it'll have water in it, it'll have protein, fat, and carbs in it. It'll have all 4. Now, in the world of superfoods, they vary greatly on how much. Some have more carbs, some have more fat, and all so forth. But if it's got all 4 macros, it just goes in the superfoods, and we eat them appropriately. So when you see this listed right here, we've got pintos, black beans, red beans, soybeans. Do you see how it says a cup to a cup and a half? That's if you're eating it alone. If you were eating it in a combination, you wouldn't be able to go a cup to a cup and a half, because if you were putting chicken breast, green beans, and let's say some black beans together, a cup to a cup and a half of black beans isn't going to fit underneath your hand right there. This amount is if you're eating it alone, okay? Peanut butter, this is where all of your nut butters are, and your nuts and your seeds and so forth. So anytime you're looking up an item, you in the food library, use our food library to look up those items, read the details, See, this is one of the reasons that people get a Shibboleth membership. You don't have to wonder about the details anymore. You don't have to wonder about what foods are going to work, how much you should use of it, what's appropriate to put it with. It's all right there for you, and it is absolutely awesome. Let's see. Avocado is actually a category 6 superfood. Okay. And avocado is not the absolute best for weight loss. So I know that you love it, but what I would do with the avocado is maybe use a little bit of it as a condiment, or kind of back off on it until you get some success under your belt. And then you can maybe incorporate the avocado again, or go into the recipe library and put in avocado, and see some different recipes that you can make with avocado and things like that. So there's definitely ways to get it in. Definitely ways to get it in. It's a superfood though. So you are not going to eat that with any protein plus fat. So let me revisit that real quick. Let me go back up here. See this category 4 protein plus fat? You aren't going to eat that with any energy, carbs, fruit, or superfoods. Okay, because you don't eat it with things that bring an insulin release. And I know avocados are a bit more fat than the rest. It's just that we do that to kind of keep you safe. All right, that's why we give you that guideline. But you just don't eat category 4s with energy, carbs, fruit, or superfoods, because we don't eat things that have fat in it with those things that bring an insulin release. Because what did we say that insulin is called? What's that funny name that we call insulin? Yes, Amy, we call insulin the fat bus. Yes, thank you, Shannon. It's the fat bus. And if you have insulin out in your system at the same time as fat, that fat is going to be picked up by the fat bus. So we just don't eat those with things that bring an insulin release. And that is your energy, carbs, your fruit, or your superfoods. But there's definitely some recipes and things that you can do to use those avocados. Okay, so let's head back down here real quick. Category 6 superfood. Okay, we talked about that. What do you not see right here? What is that same column that was right before the condiments on those upper combos? What's not here? Right, Sabrina. Yeah, there's no fats or oils here. I just don't eat it with that. Now, in the in lap 1, the combination chart, it does show you that you could put some MCT with some of these if you choose to. Okay, so if it says that on the combo chart, you can use it. It's okay, but you're just not, this is not a place where you're just going to go willy-nilly, woo, let me do ghee butter, let me do coconut oil. It does specifically say that you could use MCT for some of that. So just, if it says it on the combo chart, then you can do it that way. All right, let's go down here to another combination. You can take category 6 superfood and eat it with category 2 fibrous carb. Travis always says this is where you get your greens and beans. And Travis is our founder, by the way. I have had people ask me, who's Travis? But Travis is our founder, and you'll learn more from him in the future in advanced lessons. I'm your elementary school teacher, okay? And then you can go to middle school, high school, college with your advanced knowledge, because there's way more to know about nutrition. But even if you just get this down, you can live this lifestyle for the rest of your life. I just do regular Shibboleth every single day. I don't do a whole bunch of advanced stuff. Now I do intermittent fasting, but that's easy. So, so you'll learn more about what I do over the course of time, because I talk to y'all about it every single morning on the Shibby Show. Okay, category 6 and 2. This is where you also find a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Does anybody like peanut butter and jellies? Because if you do, you get an approved peanut butter. And then it's not listed right here, but we have over 60 approved breads. Some of those are loaf breads. Maybe you get some Sara Lee 45 calorie delightful. And then you come over here. This is where you're going to find your jelly, is your condiment. And you wouldn't want to use more than 50 calories. Okay. But we do have a member. Her name is Nikki Kyle, and she is a huge peanut butter and jelly fan. She was a peanut butter and jelly fan before Shibboleth, but she was eating fat storing peanut butter and jellies. And then we taught her how to have a fat burning peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And she eats a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. And she, of course, switched up the other things that she needed to switch up. But guess what her peanut butter and jelly sandwich tastes like? A peanut butter and jelly. Guess what it looks like? A peanut butter and jelly. Guess what it smells like? peanut butter and jelly. Guess how it satisfies like a peanut butter and jelly? And guess how much weight Nikki has lost? 93 pounds. And all she did is switch around the thing. So we're all about helping people figure out what they ate before. What's the new way I'm going to eat that? Now, on one of the combination charts, you're also going to see that you could put category 6 superfood with category 2 fibrous carb and maybe a lean protein. You could do that. That's an approved combo. It's just not showing it here. I don't have all night to show every combo there. This is just some lessons. And then you learn these lessons and you apply them to the other combination chart. Now, keep in mind right here, see how that's still, I wish I could get them to take that off and not show that when it's combined with other foods, because you're probably not going to do that amount when you're combining it with something else. So just keep that in mind. It all needs to fit underneath your hands. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. We have a new category here. Category 3, energy carb. Your brain needs to be trained. Ding, 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 ding. I like me some lima beans. Ooh, I like black-eyed peas. You have got to know which energy carbs you like so that your brain goes ding, 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 ding. Let me eat this with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. And I'll tell you how that's going to look in just a second. But energy carb, you can do about 1/4 cup. See, 1/4 cup is going to fit about right here. Well, since you also have to eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb, where are they going to fit? Lean protein, fibrous carb, energy carb, all underneath your hands, okay? You lower it down, and you really don't want your food to be thicker than the thickest part of your hand, so you're not piling up your Thanksgiving plate and saying, I can't see my food, okay? We're not doing that. And I do have people send me pictures like, I'm at a restaurant, I can't see my food, just to be silly with me, but a 1/4 cup. Once you get to maintenance, if you want to try 1/2 cup, you can. I've had people say, no, that didn't work for me, but no matter what, you still want it to stick underneath your hands. So it depends on your hand size, really. What's great is if your hand size is small, you're a small person. You just might not know it. And if your hand size is big, you get a little bit more food. So let's say you have got a husband and wife that are eating the same foods, but the husband has big hands and he needs more food, he gets it because it'll fit underneath his hands. And, it works out that way. That's why the hands work good for each person. So this is white potato, sweet potato, oatmeal, steel cut oats, Quaker, fiber and protein oatmeal, long grain brown rice, most lighter colored beans, peas, tomatoes, onions, carrots, whole wheat pasta, and whole grain pasta. Okay, so I'm not going to even talk about the whole wheat pasta and whole grain pasta because tomorrow night we're going to look up some pastas that are much better for you than even those. But you can use those, okay? But you got better options, and we will have more time to talk about that tomorrow night when we're looking in the food library because I want to hit some of these other things. Carrots. Plus, let me just mention this. Whole wheat and whole grain pasta at 1/4 cup. People are like, I want more. And some of those others that we're going to talk about tomorrow night, you get a little bit more with the way that they're made up and the meals that you can make with it. Carrots. Carrots, once they're cooked, are sweeter. And they are corn is right here. Corn is right here, Dolores. It's just not listed. These are just small lists, but this is where corn is. Energy carb. So carrots, once they're cooked, they're sweeter and they do bring an insulin release, and you got to eat them appropriately. People are often surprised that onion and tomato are right here. Well, we put it right here because this is basically how people use them. They kind of use them as an energy carb and everything. But I always like to teach this way. If you are having a 1/4 cup of onion, then you need to call it an energy carb so that you combine it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. But if you are having a thin little slice of onion as a piece of condiment on a hamburger or something, that could count as a condiment. But if the amount is making up a 1/4 cup or more, it needs to be called an energy carb. Same thing with tomato. If you have a thin little slice of tomato, you could call it a condiment. But if it's making up 1/4 cup or so, you need to call that an energy carb so that you eat it appropriately. But see, so tomato and onion used as condiments, either a thin slice or a smidge. It's a smidge as a condiment, not a whole bunch as a condiment. If you want a whole bunch, if you want a quarter cup, just eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb, and you get that. So let's say that you want to have all your peas are here, even English peas that are green. See, don't be fooled by the green color of some things. They don't always mean fibrous carb. So let's say that you want to eat some English peas. I'm going to put them about right here. It's going to be about a quarter of a cup. Eating the English peas is going to elevate your blood sugar. Your pancreas is going to secrete insulin. And when that happens, the insulin comes out to deal with the blood sugar elevation. But now that you've trained your brain to go ding, 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 I need to eat this with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. Maybe you do 96% lean ground beef here. Maybe you do, I'm just going to say butternut squash here, and because that's a category 2 fibrous carb, and you've got your English peas here. All right. The English peas elevate your blood sugar. Your pancreas then secretes insulin to deal with the blood sugar elevation. But you've learned how to combine foods in a way that will control insulin. So the lean protein in the hamburger, the lean hamburger, and the fiber in the butternut squash are going to neutralize the insulin release that came out because of the English peas. And at a quarter of a cup, you did not overeat English peas. Therefore, it wasn't a huge blood sugar elevation, and it wasn't huge doses of insulin that were secreted. It was just enough to deal with that, but then you counteracted it by eating in the right food combination. So you've just learned the secret right there. That if you eat like this, you will not be storing new fats. And you don't want to be storing new fat while you're trying to get rid of fat that's there, right? That wouldn't be smart. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people don't know about this. And so therefore they're out there trying to exercise and they're like, nothing's ever working. Well, they hadn't switched their oils. They didn't know to switch this around. And they're just storing new fat while they're out exercising, burning out fat. And it's just a little vicious cycle, and they don't make any progress. Then you get frustrated. You'll also notice there's no oils here either, because you're definitely going to use 0-calorie cooking spray with this, okay? If you're going to cook some meat up, or water or whatever else, but just not oils, because you don't want this energy carb that made your blood sugar go up a little bit and that insulin came out. You don't want it to capture any oils. So that's why there's no oils here. There's no real fat in this meal. Think about this. If you were to eat a steak and a baked potato, it's not that the baked potato has fat in it. It's got 0.5 fat. It's just the catalyst to fat storage because of the creation of the insulin release. So if you want steak and baked potato, you can have it up to 6 times a month on a holiday. But if you're wanting to have a perfect day and you're thinking steak and baked potato, this is where you have to manage it. You make a decision. Is it really the potato I'm wanting? Because if so, I'll do a quarter cup of potato with a lean protein and a fibrous carb, and boom, I get my potato. But if it's the steak that you're wanting, then you're going to have it either by itself or with a fibrous carb. And that's that. You just have to make a decision on a perfect day, but you can have it up to 6 days a month if you want to on your holidays in weight loss mode. All right, now we've come to fruit, category 5, fruit. All fruit is in fruit, so I'm only going to read the top 4 listed here. Berries, apples, oranges, and grapefruit. Those are the lowest glycemic, okay, which means they have the lowest natural sugar in them. See, fruit's good for you. It's got some antioxidants in there. We call this an antioxidant carb too, by the way. But it's got antioxidants in there. It's got some great phytonutrients in there. All those beautiful colors. They're good for you. But if you are in the nutritional situation that you would like to burn off excess body weight, fruit must be combined with a lean protein and a fibrous carb, because it is a natural sugar. Your blood system doesn't know, your body doesn't know, oh, it's a natural sugar. I'm not gonna raise the blood sugar. It still does. It still elevates your blood sugar. Your pancreas still secretes insulin. So I don't know if you've ever done a program where they said fruit was like 0 points and you're just eating bowls and bowls of watermelon, like, woo, I'm eating this. You're not really burning any fat because it's going to elevate your blood sugar, and watermelon happens to be one of the sweetest. Your pancreas is going to secrete insulin, and later on in that day, if you're eating some fat, it's going to collect it. So that doesn't work. But if you want to eat, let's say you want to have an apple for lunch, maybe you grab some boar's head turkey deli meat and you get an Olate Extreme Wellness high fiber tortilla, and maybe you even get some spinach. You can have multiple category 2s. So maybe you get the Olay Extreme Wellness high fiber tortilla. I would even get one of those little Laughing Cow wedges of cheese as a spread that in there, and then lay some spinach or some romaine or some iceberg, whatever you want. If you want that, you don't have to have it, but if you want it, you can have that there. And then put some turkey deli meat there, roll that up. You have a category 1 and 2 wrap, and you can now have that little small apple. And the apple is going to elevate your blood sugar. Your pancreas is going to secrete insulin, but the protein in that turkey breast and the fiber in that Olay Extreme Wellness and the spinach and other things you might have put in there is going to neutralize that. So you've eaten in a way that controls insulin. So it's really good. Let's say that you want some fruit for breakfast. You eat some fruit. Maybe you make an egg white spinach omelet. Maybe you learn to make the little Shibboleth parfait that people like so much. It's just like an Oikos 000, or maybe a Greek plain yogurt and some hemp flakes, which we're going to talk more about hemp flakes later in the week. And then you could put some berries in there. Okay. And there's some recipes for that too, to kind of give you some amounts and stuff, but that would work. You just got to figure out what works. All right, we're going to now talk about just a few extra things that are in some of these categories. This really isn't combinations anymore, but these go in categories. You just got to know that these other ones are available. Like, for example, category 2 breads. Less is best. Still on breads, less is best. And you really don't want more than 100 calories of bread per meal. So you can use the La Tortilla Factory 50-calorie tortilla, Olay Extreme Wellness high fiber tortilla, Healthy Life bread, Bran Crisp bread, which is not really a bread. It's an appetite control cracker. And I like the sunflower seed, the pumpkin seed, the best. They have is it a honey and raisin or something like that? They have that one, and then they have an original. The original, I've heard some people say they don't like it, but I've not had it. I have had the sunflower and the pumpkin seed, and it's delicious. But it's not a bread. It's a cracker. I don't know why they call it that. Healthy Life hot dog buns, Thomas Light 100-calorie English muffins. So all of those work. We had a conversation tonight at the store that if you're making a sandwich, maybe you're making a grilled cheese, or maybe you're making peanut butter and jelly. Of course, you can use 2 slices of bread, okay? But what I like to do sometimes is I like to just make open-faced sandwiches and broil them, and then just use knife and fork to eat it. I'm taking away a whole nother slice of bread. And then I like to use wraps too. Wraps are even better for weight loss. That is Bran Crisp. If you look it up in the food library, it's the Scandinavian Bran Crisp. And then approved sweeteners. Any 0-calorie sweetener works fine. Approved beverages. Well, first of all, you got to get your water in. At least 64 ounces of water, shooting for a gallon, but you could do other 0-calorie drinks. Okay, you can have coffee and add 15 calories of an approved sweetener as well. Cheese actually falls in 3 different little categories. You can use cheese as a category 1. All of the fat-free cheese is a category 1. But this little cheese right here is the Cabot Extra Light cheese. It's a category 4, protein plus fat. So you just want to be aware that you're not going to eat that with energy, carbs, fruit, or superfoods. Oh, and Janet, if you're on here, there's that Lifetime cheese. In fact, I'm going to click right here and see where it takes us. Oh, it didn't take me there. Darn it. Oh, well. Wasn't linked. But there's that Lifetime cheese, Janet. Now, so you can use cheese as a lean protein, or a fibrous carb. And it can also be used as a condiment, obviously, depending on how much you're using of it. When you go in to see how to make a grilled cheese, it says that you could actually use 3 to 4 slices. I did 4 slices one time. That stuff was everywhere. I don't need 2 slices. So how I prefer to make a grilled cheese is I actually use a little bit of turkey in it. So I will spray, I can't believe it's not butter spray, on a slice of bread, and I'll lay it flat on my griddle. And then I put a slice of Borden fat-free cheese on each side. And then I'll put a little bit of turkey, just a little bit, because I've already have the 2 slices. I'll add just a little bit, and I'll just let it heat up and melt. And I kind of cover up my cheese because I flip my turkey thing over and I'll warm my turkey side too. And then I put it all together and I got a nice little warm sandwich. So it really depends on how much you're using it. So I found I don't need 4 slices of cheese. But the Cabot extra light cheese, I like to use that. It's a block cheese. So I'll take it and I will cut it up into 50-calorie increments. And then I'll sometimes shred that on top of a salad or something. So that's really good. And then this is really important to know, the lean protein milk, fat-free Fairlife milk can be pretty much found all across the country. Kroger Carb Master obviously is at the Kroger grocery store, but both of those milks are fat-free and fortified with protein. They're also lactose-free if you have a problem with that. So it's very important to know those milks are category 1 lean proteins, and you use those milks in some things that we call perfect pairings. So for example, if you pick a cereal that's what we call a phase 2 cereal, which I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow. Phase 2 foods are really foods that aren't necessarily better for you, because we got approved Captain Crunch in there, and you got to know that's not really the best, but it still works because we looked at the nutrition, it still works. See, even cereal, even approved cereal can still be starchy. And so what does starchy stuff do? It elevates your blood sugar a little bit. It makes your pancreas secrete a little insulin. But if you eat it with one of those lean protein milks, there's no fat in those milks to be captured, and there's protein in it to offset it. And so it's a perfect pairing, meaning those 2 things will work fine together. We'll talk more about that later in the week. And then breadings and flours. You got coconut flour, Carb Quick flour, Bob's Red Mill, TVP, and almond flour. TVP stands for textured vegetable protein. It's a soy product, but you can do it to bind meatballs, or a vegetarian might even use this to make an entire meatloaf with it. Or you could use it as a little bit of crunch on some chicken that you maybe want to dip in some egg whites, put that on there and maybe air fry it. You can do a lot of things with this. If you have ever used flour or Bisquick in the past, this is going to be your new friend, Carb Quick. It is a category 2 fibrous carb, and it isn't spelled with CK at the end. It's just a K, Carb Quick. And tip, do not use the recipes that are on their box. They did not take into account the other Shibboleth rules when they wrote those on there, because that's their thing. We just use that product, okay? But when you go into the food library and you look up Carb Quick and you scroll down, you're going to see 6 pages of recipes that have Carb Quick in it, like the cheeseburger pie, like the mock KFC chicken, and all kinds of stuff. Almond flour, let me see if it's linked. I think it's a category 2. Almond flour. Yep, it's a category 2 fibrous carb, Shannon, which is good news. Good news. So that Carb Quick, I actually make the cheddar garlic biscuits with it, and I can eat 2 cheddar garlic biscuits, like they fit right here. And then over here, if I just had a lean protein, let's say I want to have chicken breast or a 96% lean ground hamburger patty, I could do biscuits and hamburger. It's a 1 and a 2. It will not look like a fat burning meal, but it is, because you made the simple swap to use the right product. And there is if you like cornbread, there is a recipe called Perfect Cornbread that uses that almond flour and some other things. So write down the Perfect Cornbread so you can look that up in the recipe library. And then cereals. In the beginning, what we call phase one cereals are the best. Now, keep in mind that when I say phase one, don't get confused like, oh my goodness, there's so much. There's really not. Phase one is the lifestyle. It's the foundation of the lifestyle. You're never going to be kind of out of phase one if you're continuing to live the Shibboleth lifestyle. And phase two is really us just opening up some cereals to you, some soups, and some frozen meals. You got to already kind of know that's canned soups, frozen meals, and Captain Crunch is not necessarily the highest of quality, but it does give you more variety. Okay, so that's why we just call it phase two. But phase one cereals are going to be the best of the best cereals. And that would be something like Kashi Go Lean Original, K's Natural Cereal. I bought some of that tonight at the Shibby Shop. And the High-Low Nutritious Living. Now, tomorrow night, we're going to look at some more phase one and phase two cereals. I'm not going to read these restaurants because we're going to do restaurants on, is it Friday night? I can't remember. Anyway, we're going to look at restaurants on Friday night. But I hope that y'all like this information that we've got going on here. This stuff has changed my life, and I live this just like boom, boom, boom. Just do it. Just get up and do it every single day. But do you know why? Because I continued through the days that were hard. I didn't quit or give up on the days that were hard. And are there still hard days? Yes. Yes. I didn't even know how much I thought about food until I'm trying to live the lifestyle, and 2.5 years in, I'm still like, what's next? What can I eat next? Yes, you can, Patricia. Come on in. Now, Patricia, the Kennesaw Shibby Shop is what we affectionately call it. It's kind of hidden in its location. So if you know where Kennesaw Elementary School is, it's just a little bit south of Swift Cantrell Park, right across from Kennesaw Elementary. There's an old CVS right there on the corner, and you'll be able to tell because that CVS has those doors on the angle, but it's an old CVS, but it's called Desktop, and it's a co-working space. It's also where Kennesaw Coffee Shop is. So when you come in, you're immediately walking into the coffee shop. You come through the coffee shop, through the double glass doors, and then you turn right and you'll see the Shibby Shop. It's open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I teach class in there. Oh, okay. Yeah. I teach class in there on Monday nights at 6 and on Saturdays at 10. And we also have classes at 10:10 on Thursdays. Okay, so what you're going to do to come from Ringgold is you are going to take 75 South all the way down to Wade Green, turn right, and continue to follow the Google map. So good, come see us. Be awesome. Be really awesome. I'd love to have you there. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this information tonight. Really just start making your lists of your favorites and then start putting some meals together. And then when I was new, I scoured those Facebook groups because I'm like, what are these folks eating? What are they eating? And I wanted to see if I liked it or if there was a way I could make it in a way that I would like it. If I didn't quite like what they had done, I would just practice and play and see. And then my other favorite friend or other tool is this, a Sharpie marker, because I went into my own pantry and my own refrigerator. I brought everything to the food library. I looked up the items, and then if it was approved, I would write how to use it on that item. That way, when I go back into the refrigerator or back into the pantry, I'm like, oh, okay, I can use that like that. Well, after you've done that for a little bit, you won't need to do that anymore on those items that you find that you want to buy all the time. But just this week, I bought a new item that I had never purchased before. I came home and I took my Sharpie marker out, and I'm 2.5 years in. So I'm still using this because it's a good way. Beth, I know. Wish I had this 2 years ago. It would have been a lot easier. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I got you, girl. I got you. Okay. Last but not least, I bought this little sign right here thinking of you. Keep them safe day and night. Give them courage, strength, and might. Because the Shibboleth shield will keep you safe, and you got to have courage, strength, and might to get through those moments that you're not really liking doing it. Okay. But that only happens because we are trying to unlearn. We have a massive amount of unlearning to do. And it's because we're trying to unlearn years and years of habits. And you've heard old habits die hard, but they can die. And we want them to go away. So let's just work through it. Stay connected to everything. Meet me here tomorrow night at 7:30. We'll do this we'll learn the food library and the timing chart tomorrow night. And those are really great tools. So I'll see you in the morning for the Shibby Show. If you can join me on the public page, and we will go from there. Night, everybody. You're welcome, Sabrina. And if you don't have a Shibboleth membership yet, just grab yours at $79 at shibbolethdeals.com. First class is always free. So if you have listened in and you're not a member, thank you for listening. But go ahead and grab your membership because you're going to want the tools and resources we have and all the community. Thank you, Amanda. You're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. Bye, everybody.